I've made videos before on some of my favorite book recommendations, some of my favorite teachers that are out there, but I've never actually done a video on what some of my favorite YouTube channels are specifically. I think there's a lot of really good YouTube channels out there, some that might be more well-known than others. I'm gonna share with you some of my favorite YouTube channels that I love and watch. Some of them you might know, some of them might be brand new to you. Now, this is actually kind of hard, admittedly, because in my last video that I made with my favorite teachers, literally almost all of them have YouTube channels that I love, and I do highly suggest that you go check those out. In this video, I'm going to give you a brand new list of other YouTube channels that are out there. It's more specific to people that might only have their ministries on YouTube that I think would be beneficial to share. These are channels that give really good biblical content, but also gives a variety and perspective to the Christian life. And remember, guys, my list is going to look different than yours. I think that there's a lot of really wonderful YouTube channels out there, but these are just some of my personal favorites that I've really enjoyed lately and thought that I would share with you. So if your favorite isn't on the list, go ahead and share yours in the comments. All right, now these are in no particular order, but the first one I'm going to start with is called Unbelievable. This is possibly lately one of my favorite YouTube channels out there. The host of this YouTube channel hosts respectable conversations between skeptics and Christians. If you want to see respectable dialogue between two opposing views, I highly recommend this channel. It exemplifies how we can disagree and still show love for one another, and it also, in my opinion, does a really good job of showing the perspective of somebody that might disagree with Christianity. I find that stuff to be really highly valuable. When you understand other perspectives, you can clearly understand why you might disagree with those perspectives. I'll read to you what it says in their About section on their YouTube channel that I think sums it up pretty well. It says, every week, Justin Brierley invites guests from both sides of the subject under debate and asks questions like, can Christianity live up to the claims it makes? Can we trust the Bible? Why should I believe in Jesus over anything else? Justin tackles these and other issues on a show that gets Christians and non-believers talking to each other. I love to just leave it on in the background, listen while I paint. It's good stuff. Number 2, Apologia Studios. Now, before I knew him, I remember years ago watching a video of Jeff Durbin talk to an LDS missionary. It was one of the most intelligent, respectful, and eloquent ways I have ever seen anybody talk to a Mormon. I always remembered this channel, and as it grew, so has its rich content. You can find sermons, you can find talking points, street evangelism, videos from the Cultish podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. There's a whole variety of topics that the channel covers that I think would be both challenging and edifying to the average Christian. Number 3, what do you meme? I'm gonna have to ask him someday what the story is behind the name of this YouTube channel, but this is actually a recent channel that I found just this year, maybe only a few months ago. The content creator of this channel is a guy named John, and I really like his down-to-earth, clear, and level-headed approach to anything from Christianity to cultural issues. He approaches it from like a Christian perspective that's fresh but firm and theologically grounded. And I have to say, as somebody who's kind of like a family person, I really like how family-oriented his channel is and how he connects to his viewers. Number 4, Living Waters. Some of you might be familiar with Ray Comfort. He's been around for a long time. It's basically an evangelistic type ministry that's online, and though I probably would do things a little different than Ray because I am more of an apologist when I approach people, I definitely think that he is the epitome of an evangelist. He just goes around with a simple camera talking to people, trying to tell them about Jesus. He gives them the gospel. That's the one thing this man lives and breathes for, is to tell people the gospel. I think that this channel is just a really good resource for people to see what it looks like to talk to people about the gospel. And I also think that Ray's just a real genuine guy. He really does love Jesus, and he does have a fervent love for the lost. Number 5, Wesley Huff. Now, most people probably won't recognize who Wesley is at first, but he's a friend of mine and Doreen. We actually interviewed him last year about the reliability of the Bible. He does have a YouTube channel, and he also has a page on Facebook that I find very beneficial. He's currently getting his PhD, and he specializes in what's called textual criticism, which is basically just a fancy way of saying that He studies the early texts of scripture and how they were in their original form. He gives a lot of really good information on how we got our Bible. I think Wesley is a wealth of information. He knows his stuff. He's well-spoken, clear, and very informative. Number 6, Desiring God YouTube channel. This is John Piper's YouTube channel. What I really like about this channel is the diversity of sermons, theological questions. They cover topical issues. And I find that John Piper has a very distinct way of explaining things and teaching theological points. I find that I remember them better when John Piper says it. I love channels that answer hard Bible questions, that take questions from viewers or from people in general, and they put it on the channel and they do like a Q&A. I love that stuff. This is definitely a channel that has content that's rich, as well as sermons that will inform and inspire. Number 7, we have Fringe Pop 321 and Dr. Michael Heiser. Now, these are 2 separate YouTube channels, but I'm going to cheat a little bit and put them together because it's basically the same person. If you don't know who Dr. Michael Heiser is, you should. He's a Bible scholar that really takes the original ancient view of Scripture seriously. He takes us back to how the original writers intended for their writings to be read. One of my favorite things about both of these channels, you have Fringe Pop and then you have his teaching channel, is that he does not shy away from fringe topics like Nephilim, aliens, things like that. As somebody who's kind of been really researching heavily what's been going on in the hypercharismatic movement in the last few years and how it's entering our churches, I find the content on his channels to be very confirming to these findings. He's a fringe guy that talks about fringe topics, so have fun geeking out on his stuff. Number 8 is Red Pen Logic. Now this is actually a rather new channel, but the content creator is a man named Tim Barnett with Stand to Reason Ministries. Now if you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you know that I have a lot of respect for Greg Koukl, the president of Stand to Reason Ministries. Tim Barnett is in that same ministry. Tim has worked with Greg for many years as a speaker and apologist for the ministry. What makes Red Pen Logic unique is that it's devoted to logic. He makes it fun but respectful to find the logical fallacies and the arguments against Christianity, and he uses his red pen to correct it. He used to be a teacher, so it's kind of a brilliant play on words if you ask me. If you're looking to wise up your logic game, want to hear some fresh thoughts on how to approach skeptics, this is a great channel for you. Number 9 is Worldview Warriors. Now, most of you, I can bet, have probably not heard of this YouTube channel, but it's actually led by 2 of my friends, David and John. They've had their channel for quite some time now and cover a lot of different topics. They do theology, they do church history, current events, apologetics, they do interviews, pretty much everything. If there's a topic that's brought up that they don't agree with, their way of handling it in love is very admirable. That's probably one of my favorite things about John and David. Another thing that I really enjoy about their channel is how they cover church history, so be sure to check them out. Last but certainly not least, we have Acts 17 Apologetics with David Wood. Some of you have already known about this channel, some of you, this might be the first time you're hearing about it, but David Wood and this channel have been around for a long time. David Wood is a former atheist, and if you've never heard of Nabil Qureshi, he has a great book called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. He unfortunately did pass away a few years ago, but his book is still to this day one of my favorites written, and David is somebody that is very pivotal in Nabil's story. David specializes in a lot of things, but especially Islam. You have apologetics, philosophy, current events, atheism. He's very articulate in his videos, and let's just say he has a very unique approach with some of the topics that he covers. I find his content to be witty, brave, and very helpful. He also has one of the most unique testimonies I've ever heard. So I will leave a link in the description of this video if you want to check that out. So that's basically my list, but in preparing for this video, I actually just discovered, I think it was a few days ago, that there's another YouTube channel out there that I think a lot of people need to know about. I didn't know they had a YouTube channel, but it's Mama Bear Apologetics. I have not had a chance to really check out the channel, but I'm just positive that it's going to be filled with great content that I know will edify you. There's yet again another YouTube channel that I absolutely love that I can't believe that I forgot to put on this list, but I've actually been watching it for years, and it's called Midwest Christian Outreach. I have known Dawn, one of the creators of this YouTube channel. They also have their own website, by the way, which I highly recommend. But Don's been around for a long time. When I first got involved in ministry, I met Don at a ex-Jehovah's Witness convention. And there was just this amazing warmth to him. He was full of information, just really loved what he's doing, had a really quirky personality. And I just loved everything that he was doing. I used his ministry as one of my resources in learning about cults and learning about other religions. Don has had this ministry together with his wife Joy since 1995, so he's been around for quite a while. I highly recommend that you check out his channel. He has a channel together with his friend Ron. They both have their own little style of how they do their videos, but I think it's a great channel for everybody to know about. It's also noteworthy that Don has written a book with our friend Marcia Montenegro about the Enneagram. So I will leave a link to that in the description as well so you can check it out. So that's my list. Everything that I mentioned in this video, I will have full links in the description of this video if you want to check it out. I really hope that they bless you like they have blessed me.